Welcome, Manchester United fans, to Dan United. Hope you are well tonight. We are going to talk about someone I have been giving so much stick recently. But you know what? What he has been saying recently, I can't disagree with. Rio Ferdinand. But before that, as always, good evening. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday. Worst day of the week. Tuesdays are by far the worst day of the week. It is the one day of the week where you are too far away from the weekend to give a crap, and you're too far from the previous weekend to remember all the good things you did, like Manchester United beating Chelsea 2-1. I love it. I love it. Yes, so I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's had a nice, pleasant day. Today, I want to talk about what Rio Ferdinand had to say. And I've got to be honest with you, as I said just now, I agree with him. I've got to be honest with you, I absolutely agree with the guy. We've had it for too long. We've had it for too long, I think, where ex-players come out and they say things and we go, do you know what? They're idiots. What the hell are they talking about? Roy Keane will always hold a place in my heart, so I don't question him as much. But Rio Ferdinand has come out and basically said, Amorim, Ruben, settle down. Settle down. And when I say settle down, I'm not saying he wants him to buy a house in the middle of Manchester with a private pool and with butlers and blah, 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 blah. He wants him to settle down with his defence. And when I first read it, when I first saw the comment of Rio Ferdinand, his tagline, I would have hated this. I thought, here we go. Another Rio special. His name is Rio and he talks garbage. But today, Rio was right. Let me go through the hellos first and make sure everyone's okay. Ferdinand put a trophy. That looks like Gary Neville. Not Gary Neville, Gary Lineker. Luke says, my Northampton Town loses. Very happy. No, my manager, Kevin Nolan, out my club. Oh, Kevin Nolan was a decent footballer back in the day. Good evening, Anthony. I hope you are well, my friend. Wahaha. Wah. Ha 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 ha. Hope you're well, my friend. And Chappie, yes, as always, make sure you are liking and subscribing. I hope you are well. So, what did Rio Ferdinand say today? Well, it's simple. It's simple. He spoke about the fact that, and this guy does come from a good source of having experience in the position. He turned around and he said, when I played as part of a he's back four, wasn't it, with Wade? But it was a settled back four. Now, Manchester United, Ruben Amorim, I think we can all agree, this season, the thing that is there's a lot of things that have irritated me, but the thing I think that hasn't helped him at all is a simple one. It gets to the 50th, 60th minute, and he's changing defenders. He's swapping them in and out. Now, whether or not that's because he feels that the defenders are absolutely knackered, because they're getting they're not getting hit on, because they're getting penetrated, what is happening? Because they have attacks coming on them all the time, and he thinks that they need freshening up. I don't know. But I do believe, I do agree, with what Rio Ferdinand says. We do need to have a statement settled back three. Now, when you look at the biggest clubs and you look at how they play and you look at the trophies they win, the one thing they have in common normally is they have it set up. That back four, back three, whichever position, that formation they play, is normally one that is there every week. And when you look back at the good old days, I hate saying that, but the good old days of United, back in like Rio and Vidic, that back two, you knew that unless there was an injury, that was going to be the defense. It was going to be who the strikers for the opposition team were going to have to try and get past. And at the moment, what we've seen it sort of move about. He started majority with Yoro, with De Ligt, and then with Luke Shaw. But then throughout the game, we've seen sometimes two substitutions of that back three. So I actually agree with him. I mean, he goes on to say, I like taking my notes, and I did make sure I made some. He goes on and says the following: consistency of players in that area of the pitch gives you a better chance to win. This chopping and changing is just, I find it wild. I don't like it, and I wouldn't have liked it if I was playing. And that's where I come to with you guys and girls, if you're watching. Do we need to see more of a settled spine of a team at Manchester United? Because it started the season with the false nine. Now we've reverted to having Sesko start up there. But I think there needs to be more structure in the way that we set up as an 11. Now, look, you could argue, well, the opposition's going to know who's playing where, what their strengths are. But do you know what it instills that trust with the players that are playing there? It instills that trust that these lads play week in and week out with each other. And I think that's what we're missing at the moment. I genuinely think that's what we're missing at the moment. Again, another thing he said, I look at teams that win, right? Whether it's my team, whether it's the old Ruben Amorim teams with Tony Adams, Ruben Amorim, I got that wrong. With Tony Adams or Martin Keown, Sol Campbell or John Terry, William Gallas, now Virgil van Dijk and Kenyatte. This is right. This is absolutely right. Gabriel and Saliba, there's a reason why Arsenal for the last 3 seasons have had one of the best defences in the league. It's because these two lads play week in, week out with each other, and they understand each other's game. They know exactly how the other one thinks. They know exactly what they need to do. Their jobs are already sorted out, and they build that relationship. I saw a thing with Wayne Rooney. I don't know if you saw the interview where he said the reason that Manchester United, and I'm talking when we were winning everything, was so good and so consistent is because they did things together. Like I know they played video games, and I know that's a silly analogy, but what they did is they built this trust, they built this relationship. These guys just lived and breathed for each other. You don't see that at Manchester United anymore. What you do see is a group of players with different little sections of them, don't you? You got the older boys that stick together. You've got the Spanish and the Argentines that do their own bits together. The Portuguese, sorry. I think unity is what's needed. I think unity is what's needed. And Kevin Nolan's celebration was definitely goated. Nothing as good as Chef Kikuchi. Does anyone remember Chef Kikuchi? Oh God, was it Palace when he used to just run and lob himself in the air and dive? I tried doing that once. It was painful. Geezy says, Dan, if you became Manchester United manager tomorrow in a fantasy world, what players would you bring in? Who would you boot out? Burning question of mine. How long would I survive? How long? I wouldn't survive a month at Manchester United. I wouldn't survive a month because I would demand perfection, and I would not have any nonsense of, we're not feeling great. We don't know what the ex-players are. We don't like this. We don't. You'd be like, you play for this badge. My dream players. There's where'd you start? I think the dream players for me, I'd love to bring Jude Bellingham. I would love to see Jude Bellingham. I think Jude Bellingham is an absolute talent. Some people say he's overrated. This guy at his age as well is incredible. I love him. Absolutely love him. Let me go through. I'll go through goalkeeper, defense, midfield, and attack. So goalkeeper, dream goalkeeper would be probably Costa. I love Costa. I think he's quality for Portugal as well. Defender, if I could choose any defender, oh God. Do you know what? There's not many, like when you look at defenders out there now and you go, do you remember back in the day when you had Terry, Ferdinand, Vidic, you had all of them? Defender, I would love Saliba. I really rate Saliba. I can't lie, I love Saliba. He's just a Rolls Royce. There's a reason that Real Madrid won. Wahaha says Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk. Midfield, I've said Jude Bellingham, and then striker. Striker's a good one. Striker's a tough one because do you go? I mean, the obvious. Even at his age, you'd go Harry Kane, wouldn't you? You need goals. This guy's got, And what I love about Harry Kane is the fact he can drop and bring other players into the game. So there would be my 4. Rio's probably right, but we are creating nothing in front of goal, which I think is a bigger problem. Well, what are you talking about? Statman David, have you believe we're creating bare chances galore? There's nothing wrong with that. I agree. Good evening, Ben. Good to see you. And he was finished, wasn't he? It's not quite that straightforward. Our defense is a mixture of kids and those that need replacing. As much as I love Yoro, wouldn't want him burning out, having to play every minute. But Anthony, Manchester United we're not in the same scenario that we have been for the last, forever in the Premier League. Like, they have got one game a week now until January, and it's not even that's a lie in itself, because the FA Cup's a bloody weekend. It's a weekend, isn't it? Because it's more TV rights. So Yoro at the moment, let's be honest, He's going to play 30, a maximum of what? How many? 3, 4, 5, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. So that's 6. How many games we played? 5. He's going to play a maximum of 39 games now for the rest of the season for United. That's a terrible thing, isn't it? That would mean we'd have to get to the FA Cup final. We've got 39 games left in our season. Manchester United have. We've got 39 games left in our season. If that doesn't make you depressed, I don't know what does. Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk. Saliba would be perfect with Yoro. Oh, God, wouldn't he just though? Saliba and Yoro. Do you know who I always wanted at Manchester United as a centre-back, just for his aggression? Sergio Ramos. I love Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos is the definition of the word shithouse. I absolutely adore Sergio Ramos. I remember it was about 6 years ago, wasn't it, when we were linked with him on a free, and I thought, get him in for a couple of seasons. Johnny, good to see you, my man. He says, hey, Dan, what do you think of Scholes' comments about Rashford? Personally, I think they weren't needed. I agree with you, Johnny. I actually do. Let me bring up the comments, and in case anybody hasn't heard. Look, he isn't at our club anymore. He isn't at the club anymore, so I don't understand why we need to be talking. I don't know why we need to be talking about Rashford in that way. If you haven't seen it, the premise is, whilst I'm waiting for it to load up, basically, Scholes is saying that Rashford quit on United. He quit on United. It's just wrong. Like, I've seen Paul Scholes go in on players that aren't good enough to play for this club. I've seen him go in on Marcus Rashford. I've seen him go on, and it's like they want to go, and then all of a sudden it's wrong. It's not right. He basically claims that Marcus Rashford quit on Manchester United and has branded the England's international attitude a disgrace. What don't we know? We know that already. Let me see if I can get the actual comments. I think he quit on United. When you quit once, you'll quit again. He was late last night for Barcelona. Yes, he did get dropped for Barcelona because of that. He won't get away with that for long at Barcelona. There's absolutely no chance. How can you sleep in these days? Your phone, effing alarm, whatever, how can you sleep in? He's definitely got the talent to be one of the best players in the world, but he'll never have the mentality. Now, I can't believe we're going to Scholes here, but I agree with Scholes in that sense. And you good people who have been with me since the start, I think I said this about Marcus Rashford. You can have world-class ability, but not be world-class. You can have world-class ability and not be world-class. Neymar has world-class ability, but I don't see him as ever being world-class. I think he was up there for a bit of on the cusp of it when he was playing with Messi and Suarez, but I don't. You can have all the ability in the world and be world-class, but you need the mentality. You have to have the mentality of being world-class. That's why Ronaldo is what he is. That's why Rooney was what he was. That's why Beckham was what he was. That's why Scholes was what he was. That's why Keano was what he was. That's why Steven Gerrard was what he was. That's why Frank Lampard was what he was. That's why Didier Drogba was what he was. I could go on forever. That's why Sol Campbell in his heyday was what he was. You have to have this. And Marcus Rashford doesn't have this. Marcus Rashford, unfortunately, is part of a generation where it's blame culture. You know, it's not my fault. I'm mint. I'm mint. You know, it's not me. It's them. It's the fans. It's not me. It's the managers. Gone are the days where a player would just play through anything and prove a point. He hasn't. Instead, he's gone to Barcelona. And this is what annoys me about Manchester United fans. And I'm going to say this, and if anybody in the chat has said this, you're going to get full bore from me now. And I'm not going to do a gold bridge and call you an idiot. But I think when I read some of the tweets from United fans when he scored against Newcastle for Barcelona, and I saw them saying, oh, we've made a mistake. Rashford, this is what he does. This is what he does. I sat there and I got very angry because I went, guys. Yeah, he does do that. We've seen him do it, but he does it once every 2 or 3 months. Consistency and Marcus Rashford go together like me and a diet. It's a love-hate relationship. I hate it. I hate it. And he, unfortunately, is not the guy for that. Saliba, De Ligt, Yoro would be a decent setup. Oh, I mean, let's not talk about Saliba because it would never happen, but that would be quality. Rashford is long gone. We still hating on him. Shows a love-hate relationship. There you go. Look at that. We're on the same wave, but the favourite there. Maybe they didn't quite understand what Scholes was saying because he had a mouthful of his daughter's toes. I mean, yeah, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, should they? Good evening, Kev. Kev77. Back to live now. Good to see you, Benno. Benno? Why I've never called you Benno. Apologies, mate. Ben. And yes, make sure you hit the like and subscribe if you're new. Like even if it's, let's say the comments are true, we need Rashford to perform at Barca so that we get the money for him. He's not here. I'd love to hear Scholes talk about players like Shaw, who's here. Do you know one thing I will say? I will say this about Paul Scholes. He does come out and say some bozo things, but he does have the balls to say it to like the manager when he interviews him. Like he will front them. He doesn't care. He genuinely doesn't care. But as far as Marcus Rashford and Manchester United, we all know that that's over. I mean, there's reports that Barcelona are so interested in keeping him that they want to do a deal in January and pay a little bit less. I'm all for that. If they're willing to pay 25 million to 30 million in January, pay it up, keep him, absolutely fine. That'll be money towards the transfer kitty in January because I think United do have a bit of a kitty for January. Anything we can get in the meantime for that adds to the midfielders that we're going to go for. Wouldn't it be amazing if in January, and I was all against it, I said we'll only go and get loan players, but wouldn't it be mint if we went there in January and went not one midfielder, but two and just brought them in? I think we keep an eye on Nottingham Forest this season because I would love Elliot Anderson. Steve-O, good to see you, my mate. Good to see your beautiful face. That's what he does, 1 or 2 a season. Exactly that. Mustafa, good to see you. Evening, Dan. Thanks for cooking Charlie. If you haven't watched it, I didn't just cook Charlie last night. Christ. He had no comeback to everything I was saying. And it's always nice when you have a Chelsea fan who is, yeah, United are crap. And the term he used in our group chat before the United game was, we are gonna send Amorim down to the job centre on Monday because they're going to smash us, and they didn't. And everything I said to him yesterday, the only thing he could say was, I agree with everything you say. I agree. Yeah. Say it with chest, mate. Scholes can. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish this. But Scholes take on Rashford that he doesn't wish Marcus well, Dan. Yeah, and I don't agree with that. Look, every player that leaves Manchester United, other than Jadon Sancho for obvious reasons, I wish him well. Go and forge a career somewhere else. It didn't work at Manchester United. Them's the breaks. That's football. It happens. That's football. It happens. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Enjoy yourself. But I don't like that. I don't like that. Scholes sometimes can be a bit over the top, but can't argue he has been there, done it, got the T-shirt and retired and come back. The infamous story about Scholesy. Didn't have a boot sponsor, did he, when he made his comeback against City and had to go to Sports Direct and go and get some boots? Seems we had the money available for Baleba already, so I think we're sure to go for Baleba in January. Do you know what? Let's do a poll. We like a poll, don't we? We like a poll. Let's get the poll. And make sure you're hitting the like button, by the way. We are close to 1,280 subscribers. We're one off. We're a David De Gea off it. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me. It helps me out. And make sure you like the video. Make sure you like away. Okay. Do United get Baleba in January? How confident are we, guys? 100%? Or do me a flavor? Let's have a look. There we go. Polls in there, chat. Have a look. Do you think we go for Baleba and get it in January? Watched it earlier. It was hilarious. I was pumped, Anthony. If you didn't realise, I was so ready for that. I had so much that I was ready to say to him, and he absolutely crumbled. Dan, any part of you that misses Rashford? I remember all those years Rashford scores and saves us. I do kind of miss those days. Unfortunately, we relied on him as a scapegoat for the goals. I don't really want to talk about Rashford because he's not a Manchester United player, but I'll say this, Geezy, I'll say this to you. Marcus Rashford should have been the name on every Manchester United fan's lips. He should have been the player that we all looked at and went, that's our boy. He's a Manchester boy. He gets it. He should have gone down as a club legend for us. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. And there were warning signs. There were warning signs. This him being late for Barcelona happened all the time with United. The amount of times that he was... Do you remember when he got reprimanded when he was in the middle of his purple patch for Ten Hag against Wolves? Was it Wolves away? He was late, and then he come off the bench, got the winner. Marcus Rashford, unfortunately, and I don't blame it on Marcus entirely, I think with a lot of players like Marcus these days, it's simple. It's the people. It's the leeches that they have around them. It's the scumbags around them that are in their ears telling them they can do this, that, and the other. Gone are the days where players just played for the love of the game. Do you know what I mean? Look, the money's there. Of course it is, but... The infamous story about Brian Clough, wasn't it? When who was it he spoke to? Was it Dean Windass? No, it wasn't Dean Windass. Who was it? Dean Saunders. He come to his house because he wanted to sign him, and he turned around and said, "I'm not going to speak to your agent. I won't speak to him. I'll only speak to you." Agents. And agents aren't even agents anymore. The amount of times that you see that these players don't even hire agents, they hire family members to do it for them, like brothers. I think Harry Kane's brother's his agent. I think Marcus Rashford's brother's his agent. I think the people have around him ruins it for them. Bought a nice pair of Sondicos at Sports. Hey, don't knock the Sondicos. See you in a bit, Kev. Kev's on the run. I have remained a belabor, just saying. Imagine if we get Belabor, it would be quality. But I do worry about what's happening at Brighton with him. Even the way they dropped you in was brilliant, says Anthony. It was. I don't know if I could show it. I think I'd probably get copyrighted. Can I show it? Can I show it? No, I can't show it. I'll get copyrighted. And I don't want to get copyrighted. To be named Windass, how does that even happen? Mate, Dean Windass is a hero. Dean Windass is an absolute hero. Absolute hero. So let's go back to the Rio Ferdinand thing. Now, I want to ask you guys, do you agree with Rio Ferdinand that we should be playing that settled back three? Do you think it's the right thing to be talking about, or do you think he's talking absolute waffle? All the Manchester United winning teams throughout the years, what Ferguson did so well was he had two players for every position and rotated them if we needed to. But you knew the bulk of what Sir Alex Ferguson was going to play week in, week out. You knew exactly who was playing where. And the only times they didn't play there was if there was a shock injury, if there was a red card. I think what Amorim needs to work on, and I will say this, actually. I thought his substitutions at the weekend were a lot better than what we've been seeing from him recently. But I need to see a settled team. The facts, like we've just worked out, we've got 39 games left for the rest of the season. I mean, that's horrible in itself, isn't it? When you sit there and you think, Christ, our season is 39 games. Normally, you have 39 games left in the season when you get to like the middle of November. Do you know what I mean? Because of all the Europe and all of the cups that you're still in. With us this season, it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But I want to see it. I think we know the midfield's up in arms at the moment. We know that we don't really have a clue who exactly it is that he wants to play in that midfield. We've seen Casemiro and we've seen Bruno, then we've seen Ugarte and we've seen Bruno. I think it would look a lot better with the less games that we've got if he just plays that consistency. The thing with it as well is, look at the squad we've got. I don't think we've got the squad to be chopping and changing. I don't think there's players that you look at and go, yeah, they should be playing in front of them. And you know, we don't have a player that you look at Yoro and you go, let's say, I can't remember who said, oh, well, we could burn him out. There's no one in that you look at could come in and go, right, okay, he'll take Yoro's spot. Yoro's going to be up against it here. There's none. The only players that I think are going to be consistent, that are going to be consistently played, Bruno, Mbeumo, Cunha if fit, Yoro, De Ligt, and Mazraoui. That's the ones I think. 6 players that will consistently play. The rest of them, it's up in arms, isn't it? It's up in arms. I know of Windass, but his last name has boggled my mind for a good 2 decades. If you get time, go on YouTube and watch. What's it called? There's a podcast ex-footballers do, and his story about Robbie Savage is delightful. Could have been worse. He could have been Dean Drip. Good evening, Jamie. Good to see you. Or Danny Drinkwater. Yeah, of course. And yes, make sure you're hitting the likes, people. Where are we at with the likes? I'm feeling like it's quite low tonight. I'm feeling like it is quite low. Let's have a wee look. We're on 10 likes. Come on, guys. There's more than 10 of you in here. So, and just to quickly go back to the poll a second, 50-50 at the moment. We're 50-50 as a group. Do United get Baleba in January? 100%. 50% of you are saying. Do me a favour, 50%. That's interesting. That is interesting. Johnny says, to be fair, I don't think Amorim will have a settled team. Yoro has been our best centre-back this season, along with De Ligt. He randomly benches him for Maguire. Casemiro was best midfielder before the Manchester derby. I'll tell you what, let's go through the players. Right, okay, let's go through the players. You know I like to have interactive here. And let's go through who's been consistent. So being there, we definitely know he's not been consistent. I don't even really have to ask about him. Lenny Yoro, would you say Lenny Yoro's been consistent for Manchester United? Would you say Lenny Yoro, just a simple yes or no, would you say Lenny Yoro has been consistent for Manchester United? I think he has. I don't think he's looked terrible. I think against City it was different. City, we were awful against City. But I think Lenny Yoro's been consistent. What are we saying? Steve-O says yes. Who else? Johnny says yes. There's a few of you in the chat. Come on, get interactive. Do you think that Lenny Yoro has been consistent? And I'll write it down. I'll write these down because I want to go through this. So we'll be in there. Be in there, no. Yoro, we're going yes. Okay. There's a reason I'm asking for this, so bear with me. Okay. De Ligt. Chappie says undecided. Okay, Chappie, I hear that, brother. De Ligt. Has De Ligt been consistent? Has De Ligt been consistent? I'm going to say yes. Jamie says yes. What are we saying, gang? Are we saying yes or no for De Ligt? Has he been consistent? Ba ba bum ba dum bum. Bum 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 ba da bum. Yes, Steve-O says yes. We're asking the question, put a simple yes and no. Yes or no, has De Ligt been consistent for Manchester United at the moment? I've gone with yes. Jamie's gone with yes. Steve-O's gone with yes. Ben says no for De Ligt. Had decent games but can switch off too. Nothing wrong with that, Ben. Chappie says yes. See, this is why we do it. I'm intrigued just to see. Because my next one, I think, that I say yes to is going to absolutely, I think, split the chat here. I'll come back to that one, Johnny. Jamie says yes. I'll start the questions in between this, and we'll come back to them. Don't worry. De Ligt, yes. Geezy says no. Yes for De Ligt, says the Jay-Z interview. Okay, so we'll look. I think the majority are saying yes. Luke Shaw. Has Luke Shaw been consistent for Manchester United? I am going to say, yeah. I think you take away the Manchester City game. I don't think Luke Shaw's looked horrendous. In fact, I thought Luke Shaw looked quality against Arsenal. I thought he looked okay against Fulham. The goal come from Bruno Fernandes losing his tracker. And I think against Burnley, he was okay. I thought Chelsea, he was really good. So I'm going yes with Shaw. Consistently bad, says Jay-Z. Shaw, yes, but a couple of players just were too much for him, says Wahaha. Yes, consistent. I knew it would divide. Chappie's got my back. Steve-O says no, not yet, nearly. Anybody else think Luke Shaw's been consistent? I think we're going to have to go no on this. Who's gone yes? I've gone yes. Chappie's gone yes. Wahaha's gone yes. Geezy's got 1,000% no. We're going to put no then. Look, I know it's my channel, but it is our channel, so I will put no, the collective. When fit, he's solid. Yes, he's been consistently. Johnny, you little shit. You've just dragged me in with that. Yes, he's consistently shit in my opinion, but the Europa final's still on my mind. Fair enough. Okay, then. Maguire. I don't think we can go Maguire because he's not played. Let's go with who's played consistently. Mazraoui. Has Mazraoui been consistent? What's he played? Mazraoui's only played 2 games? Can we really use Mazraoui? I'll put him in there, Mazraoui. Mazraoui, I think in the 2 games he's played, I think he's been consistent. I think he's looked really, really decent. So are we going to say yes for Mazraoui or no for Mazraoui? Ben says yes. Steve-O says yes. Let me have a sip of my water whilst you're deciding. Mazraoui, has he been consistent? Oh, I just dropped that down myself. It's like a fucking wet t-shirt competition here. Fuck. And again, Jesus Christ, Dan. Brilliant. That was class, wasn't it, Dan? Chappie says yes. What else are we saying? I've just got water all down myself. Who else is saying yes? I think, look, Collective have said yes for Maz. So we'll go yes. The next one we'll go is... We'll go Dorgu. Yeah, we'll go Dorgu because Waha has mentioned him. Do we think that Dorgu's been consistent? I'm going to say no with Dorgu. And I don't think he's consistently been shite, but I don't think he's been great. I'm going to go no for Dorgu. What are we thinking about Dorgu? There's a reason I'm doing this, by the way. So please bear with me. There's a reason. Everyone's saying no with Dorgu. Oh, hang on a minute. Johnny said yes, but doesn't attack enough for wing back, so want him as one. Oh, you're talking about Maz there. Fair enough. 50-50, probably yes, says Geezy. Johnny. Oh no, Johnny's saying, and then Johnny says no for Dorgu. Okay, Dorgu's a no. Right then, next one. We will go Bruno Fernandes. Has Bruno Fernandes been consistent for you in the chat? Yes or no? Has Bruno been consistent? I think you know my answer. I think you know my answer straight away. But we'll go with yours. Ben says no. Chappie says no. Get these votes in, people. Has... I don't think you can say that never in his life. I think three of his first like 6-7 years here, I think he was really consistent. Yes, consistently good and bad. Yeah, but that's a yes and a no. I need a no. A yes or a no. At the moment, I think we got no. Has Bruno Fernandes been consistent, chat? Yes or no? More yes, good games than bad. Okay. No, to be honest, Chelsea game was probably his only good game. I would go with Geezy. What did Geezy say? I think he was talking about Dorgu there, wasn't he? I think he was talking about Dorgu, mate, to be fair. No to Bruno. Okay, Bruno's a no. Right then, Casemiro. Has Casemiro been consistent enough for Manchester United? Trust me, there is method in my madness with this. Don't worry. There is method in my madness. I want to show you something at the end. I want to show you something that we're working on. Steve-O says yes to Casemiro. I would be inclined, taking the red card away, I'd be inclined to agree with that. I think Casemiro has been consistent for Manchester United. Have we been at a level where we think he's good enough? Probably not, but I think he's been consistent. Bruno, yes, but he's a scapegoat for the inconsistent players. Fair enough. Wahaha says yes. I think the other night at least 10 players weren't good enough in this squad. You disagreed and made me name them. This has proven me right. Ben, are you going to be like, I told you so? Johnny says yes. Chappie said, I think, look, overriding, we're going to say that Casemiro has been consistent. Has Ugarte been consistent? Ugarte's had enough appearances in the team. Has Ugarte been consistent for Manchester United? I love that. Love water, me. I love water, me. Has Ugarte been consistent? Steve-O comes straight in and says no. Lincoln fans booing every time for Garnacho. Good. Little shit. Gets the beat. No, says Chappie. Anybody else? Has Ugarte been consistent for Manchester United? No, says Johnny. Johnny says no. I'm going to say no with Ugarte. I think he had a good spell against City. I thought he was okay, but no, I agree. And then who's the next ones we'll go for? So the next one we'll go for. No, Jamie says no way. Next player, I'm not going to say Mainu because he's not had enough performances. Has Mason Mount been consistent for Manchester United before he got his injury? I think Mount has been consistent. I actually think there's been games where Mason Mount hasn't been. I'll come to him in a second. Wahaha. I think there's been games where Mason Mount shouldn't have been taken off the pitch. I think Mason Mount has been subbed off instead of Bruno too many times. So I'm going yes. I think Mount's been consistent when fit. Steve-O says yes. Chappie says yes. Ben says no. Wahaha says Mount's been pretty decent. Come on. Anybody else who thinks Mount's been okay? Anybody else think that Mount has been okay? Or do you think he hasn't been good enough? And yes, consistently so. Been some games you wouldn't have known he was on. I disagree with that, Ben. I disagree with that. I genuinely disagree with that with Mount. And in fact, I think we missed Mason Mount when he was injured. I do. I think we missed him against Man City. Rob Taff says he's an injury liability. Kev says yes. Yeah, he's looked good so far, says Jamie. So Mount's getting a yes. Right then we get into the big boys. Oh, before I go in, Johnny says, I'm 50-50 on Mount because he's not been as bad as some, but I really don't see Mount adding anything in games as he's meant to be an attacker. Mount 1,000,000% no. Disgraces the shirt. Geezy, I'm going to need more. I've seen players who have played for United that disgrace the shirt. Mount's downfall has been that he can't stay fit. Is that enough to say he disgraces the shirt? I don't think he disgraces the shirt. And again, I'll go back to what I said. I think Mount's been okay. I think Mount's been decent. Mount's a yes. Mount's a yes. We'll come back. Geezy, whilst I'm saying the next one, I want to comment there. I want you to explain why you think he's a disgrace to the shirt. Is it because he wears number 7? The next one we'll go is Brian Umbumo. Brian Brigade. Has he lived up to his price tag? Play Mainu, but Mainu doesn't play in the 10 role. Rob Taff, like that's where Mount's been playing in the 10. We want Mainu to be in the 6 or the 8. So I don't know if you can use that. Has Brian been consistent? I think Brian's been consistent. I think Brian's added a lot. To be fair, I think he's been unlucky with some of the games. Consistently average for Wahaha. Steve says yes. What are we saying, Brian? Has Brian been consistent this season? The one thing about Brian is this guy has been one of the only players sometimes to just run and run and run and have that attacking impetus, wanting to take players on, wanting to create stuff. I don't think he can, Rob Taff. I think Mainu's best position. Look, I don't think he is. I genuinely don't think he is an attacking midfielder. No, been up and down, says Ben. Bloody hell, Ben's hating them tonight. Yeah, says Jamie. Is there anybody else who thinks? I actually have to say no to Mbeumo. I think he wasn't good enough against City and Fulham, but was good enough against Burnley and Chelsea, so 50-50. And Brian is one player who isn't living up to the price tag at the moment. Here's what. Okay, I mean, I think the overriding's yes with Brian, but I do want to talk about this one because I like this. This is why I love this channel. We can have these conversations. Do you know why I think Brian hasn't hit the heights that we had hoped that he would hit so far? I think Brian relishes playing with a settled, kind of like we talked about the back 3 needing to be more settled. I think Brian, you're going to see the best of him when we see Sesko, Cunha, and Brian as that 3 playing week in, week out. I think he will play better. And actually, another player who I think has been a reason why Brian's not been as good. Brian looks better when Ahmad isn't down that wing with him. 100%. I think Ahmad down that right-hand side with Brian hampers the way that he plays. So I think that's the reason why I don't think we've seen the best of Brian. He needs to have consistency with the players he's playing with, and I think Ahmad's hampered him, to be honest. Brian has been unexpected revolution. Love the way he plays. However, I think that he is adjusting to the team. I agree with that, Johnny. You're joking, wahaha. Everybody sees things so differently. They do, Kev. Kev, how many times do we come off streams together and I go, I thought this was blah blah, and you say, Dan, no, I think it was this. That's why we love this community. It's very early to judge new signings, says Chappie. And Geezy's right, Geezy. I'm glad you answered this. So he says, Mate hardly ever plays. Paul's a sickie since he come here. He's never had a run of games. I consider him a Chelsea boy, never MUFC. I don't accept him. And he says he never really supported United. Do you know what okay, so I'm going to defend him. I'm going to defend Mason Mount. I'm going to defend him. Yes, I agree with you, Geezy. I think it's not a sickie. He isn't pulling a sickie. To say he's pulling a sickie is I think, completely wide of the mark. He's just been unlucky with injuries, hasn't he? This guy wants to play. This guy absolutely wants to play. And he's one of the players that his attitude has always been praised by whichever manager we have had here at the time. Ten Hag said he had a great attitude. Rude said he had a great attitude. Ruben Amorim said he had a great attitude. His biggest problem is he's not had a run of games. I think the start of this season, when he started, I was enjoying watching him play because you can be fit to play a game, but you never get fully match fit if you stop and start. I don't think we could. I said at the start of this season that I would give him this season to prove me wrong. Not prove me wrong, but prove he has what it takes to be a Manchester United player. At the end of the day, look at it this way. If we get to the end of this season and he's not in the team, he's injured all the time, I think he'd go anyway. I could see him leaving no problem. He would be 3 years into his contract at Manchester United. I think it'd be easier to see him go. What's that? It's okay. So I don't think he's a disgrace to the club. But look, again, Geezy, I take your point, mate. What has he really done? I think you're talking about Brian there. That's fine. And as Ben says here, it would be boring if we all agreed. Agreed, Brian will get better and better the more he gels with his teammates. And Brian is still getting used to this team and playing in a United shirt. With better midfielders, Brian will improve. How much more would our team improve with a better midfield? Because at the moment, you've got a defence that you go, okay, we've got a few we trust. We've got them up there that we know what they're doing. But in the middle, it's not great. As you were saying, he must improve. So for now, he hasn't been good. And I take that on board. Evening, everyone. Brian's been great as far as I'm concerned. Good to see you there, Andy. Hope you're well, my guy. Well, I think he's supposed to be the difference maker. And Cunha's shown glimpses of that. Brian hasn't yet. Okay, a lot down. Right, okay. Let's go to Cunha. Has Cunha been consistent for Manchester United? Has Cunha been consistent? I'm on the fence with Cunha. And this is going to ruffle feathers. Excuse me. I'm on the fence with Cunha. I am. I think he's looked lively. But we talk about Brian not doing enough. Cunha's had chances. And he's snatched at a few chances. He's looked decent in spells. I think the injury probably is what sort of hampered me because he went off so. You think about it, he went off so early against Burnley where he started brightly and then he missed the City game. Come on against Chelsea, didn't really have time to do anything. So maybe I'm being harsh on him there, but I'm on the fence with Cunha. Rob Taff, I agree with this. He is an absolute talent and he will be absolute class. A lot of you are saying yes, so I'm going to put yes, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Hit those. Yeah, make sure you're hitting the likes and subscribe, people. Let's get this done. Okay, the next one. Ahmad. Has Ahmad been consistent? I think I know the answer to this one, so I'm already going to put mine in there. I don't think Ahmad has been consistent at all. In fact, I think Ahmad has been pretty awful. But I don't look at it as an attitude thing. I think it's a player playing that's just out of form at the moment. Honestly, Cunha and Mount together were the most dangerous combination for us so far. And this is true. Wahaha. This is bang on. Ahmad consistently bad. Ben says no. Steve says no. Jamie says no, not Ahmad. I think the overriding feeling is that Ahmad hasn't been good. I don't think he has at all. I think Ahmad's been poor. I don't think he's been anywhere near the level. And actually, I'll go back to what I said. I think Ahmad would play better playing off the left as a left wing back. Whether or not they'll do that, I don't know. Cunha and Brian will be quality when Bruno goes. Andy, I disagree. I think Brian and Cunha will be quality this season. I think we still haven't seen them play. We haven't seen them two play together with a striker in front of them. We've seen them playing that false nine malarkey where they're all rotating, but we haven't seen them have consistency in playing side by side, having that big man up top that they can utilise to play in or work on the flick-offs that they're going to do. So I think we'll see a different side to Cunha and Brian once they play together a lot more. Ahmad, no, says Rob. To be honest, I think a lot of them turn and runs Cunha was doing would have played out better if we had a focal point in them games instead of himself or Mount as a false nine. And Johnny, that's exactly what I'm talking about, isn't it? I think I agree with you. I think Benjamin Sesko with Cunha, we haven't really seen that properly yet. That will be the difference maker for me. Ahmad final ball needs to be better. I agree. But Dan, for a number 7 shirted player, they are supposed to be legends, idols, difference makers. His absence is ridiculous. We know most players are money grabs here, but name me a world-class number 7 since Ronaldo. And I'm not going to have that when he come back and wore the number 7 because it's different. Ronaldo, before he went to Madrid, was the last iconic number 7 we had. The last one. Edison Cavani was quality, but he wasn't world class. Michael Owen, do me a favour. Valencia, consistent. We haven't had, like, the number 7 for Manchester United is supposed to be a legend shirt. When you look at the boys who have worn it, Brian Robson, David Beckham, George Best. These boys, Eric Cantona, King Kev, that's bloody, that's Kevin King. The King, Dennis Law. These players, number 7, Dennis Law was number 7. I'm talking about my arse there. But these are legends. These are legends of the club. I think we put too much, we had fucking Sanchez. Sanchez wore the 7, destroyed that shirt. The number 7 for Manchester United doesn't have the same meaning as it did years ago, unfortunately, because the poll, by the way, has ended. A lot of you are saying we won't get. So 67% think we'll get Belabor. But the number 7, the times have changed now for number 7 in Manchester United. I think the times have changed. But of course, I get what you're saying. Look, when he got the number 7, I said, no, we shouldn't be doing that. I said Bex, don't worry, Geezy, said Bex. If you remember at the start of this pre-season, I said what United needed to do was take the number 7 off Mount and give it to Cunha. I would have been so happy giving Cunha that 7 because I think he'd have worn that shirt and I think he'd have looked like the number 7. I did mention Robson. Ahmad is a winger, not a wing back. Defensively, not good enough, says Rob Taff. I agree. So Ahmad's a no. The final one, Mount for his own sake should probably, and this is bang on. Mount for his own sake probably needs a new shirt number, to be honest. He's probably have less pressure. Do you remember, right, when Giggsy retired? And what did they do when he retired? Who did they give the number 11 shirt to? Who did they give the number 11? I know who it is. Who did they give the number 11 shirt to Manchester United when Ryan Giggs retired? Have a guess. Have a guess in the chat before we come back to the team. Correct, Wahaha. They gave it to Adnan Januzaj, who had one decent breakout season, and they absolutely put the pressure. It's the same with the number 7 shirt. The number 7 shirt at Manchester United, I don't think players when they come, I don't think they understand the weight that carries with that number 7 shirt. Every legend that I have loved with the number 7 shirt every player that's worn the number 7 has been a legend at this club. The number 7 is it's different, isn't it, at Manchester United? It's just a different squad number. So the number 7, where I take your point, Geezy, I think, and who is it that said, Johnny said, I want to retire the 7 shirt for a while. Give the number 7 to someone who deserves it. I know I've just said Cunha, but I think Cunha's got the arrogance to wear it. I think Cunha has the arrogance to wear it. Right then, the last player for consistency, Benjamin Sesko. Has Sesko been consistent for Manchester United? My answer to that is no. And I'll tell you why once I've seen your responses. Has Sesko been consistent for United? Oh, I love water, mate. Has Sesko been consistent for Manchester United? Sesko still a blank page? No, says Steve-O. Yes, early days, but he's done very well, just not had the service, in my opinion. Ben, I'm not sure how you can go from Brian being inconsistent to Sesko being consistent. Starbs of, I mean, okay, Starbs of, I'm saying no, but actually I kind of feel like now I sound like a flip-flopper because I'm saying no for these reasons. I'm saying no because of the service he's had, and that for me says that he can't be consistent. His game is being hampered because they're not playing the way that he should be utilised. There we go. Chappie agrees. No, but no service. Anybody else think Sesko's been consistent? At the moment, it's even. At the momento, it's and yeah, he did have a shocker, didn't he? He hasn't had a good run, says Andy. That's the reason I'm saying no. So, ironically, Geezy. I think if we'd have given Garnacho the number 7 shirt, he would have straight away said, I want an extra 100 grand a week. I genuinely think he would have. He isn't Ronaldo 2.0, Geezy. He isn't even Ronaldo 0.20. He isn't even Ronaldo 0.000000001. He's not. Garnacho's a little shit. And I think, and okay, we talk about, hang on a minute, where's your comment? We talk about your comment there, mate, saying they're supposed to be legends, idols, and difference makers. Is Garnacho a difference maker? I don't think he is. I don't think he is at all, mate. So for me, it's a no. Got to say no. If he does more stuff like he did to set Brian up for Sanchez Red, then we will have a player. And we will have a player. The front three, when they play together, the whole dynamics of that team will look different. It will look different. Anyway, put your comments in. And hello, sorry, I didn't even bloody see the comment. Right, Red Devil, where are you? Have I missed a comment here? I hate missing comments. Red Devil Radar, sorry, mate, I didn't see you. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you. And Reese as well, I didn't say hello to you. Good to see you too, mate. I hope you are well as well. So, the reason I've done this, I will show you. I will show you now. Where are we? Squad selector. Rewind. When the crowd say most. Right, where is it? Let me get the formation out. We'll have a look. Of course, we'll have a look. Can I get rid of that a second? Right, let me do this. Right, where's the formation on here? Right, perfect. So if we're going on teams, if we're going on the team, right, for consistency, we've got you. This will all make sense. Don't you worry. You know I always come with a plan, chat. Okay, we're saying no to him. Who else did we say yes to? We said yes to Cassie. Right, bear with me a second, chat. This will all become apparent here. Of starters. Okay, I tell you what, we can do this. We can do this because it'll work out quite well here. Where's MO? Right. Let me share the screen. Let me share the out screen. What the hell is it on about? People messaging me, man. This at the moment is our This is our team of players that we have picked who are consistent. That is our team of players we have picked as consistent. And at the moment, we're missing 5 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. And the worrying thing with it is this. Hang on a minute. Hi, Carrick fan. Good to see you, mate. Thank you for that. I appreciate the love with that, mate. And thank you for being a subscriber. It's because of people like you coming and watching the show. That is why we are doing so well. So thank you very much, mate. Thank you for stopping by with it. I think we had at least 10 no's, Dan. Benjamin. The first worrying thing with this, goalkeeper. The second worrying thing about this, the wing backs. The third worrying thing about this, the midfield. The fourth worrying thing about this, the other centre-back. The fifth worrying thing about this, the striker. That's with us utilising the false nine we saw at the start of the season. Chat, what do we think about this? Would you look at this and say that is our best chance of consistency at the moment? Would you say so? Or am I just being pie in the sky? Can I zoom in a bit more there? Hang on a second. There we go. That's our that is where we've got with our team of consistent players. What are our thoughts on that? Does this highlight, and there's another reason I wanted to do this, does this identify what Manchester United need to be doing in the summer transfer window? The January one, we already know. We know that in the January one, they want to sort this out. They want to sort this out here, the two midfielders. But are we looking at what the next summer transfer window is, which is those two there, a centre-back and a goalkeeper? We already know because of Samuel Luckhurst and Fabrizio and other people like this and Ben Jacobs that we are looking for another goalkeeper, regardless of the fact that we've got Lemmy. Is this hampering Ruben Amorim? Is it these 5 positions that are stopping him from being able to utilise this formation properly? And look, I'm not a sympathiser of Amorim. You know my thoughts. I don't like the formation. I don't like the formation at all. I'm starring some of these comments, guys, because I will come back to him. Don't worry. I will come back to him. I fully believe our current squad is set up for a 4-2-3-1 manager too. That's one of the many reasons I want Iriola from Bournemouth. I don't want Iriola for Bournemouth because I don't want to ruin him. Honestly, I think managers struggle at this club. But this is the problem. You're looking here. You're looking at the problem as to why Manchester United, I think, have struggled so much. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players that we're saying are consistent. That's not good enough. When you look at other teams in the Premier League, the reason they're doing so well is because they hold consistency. So I just think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting way to look at it, and I think it's something we have to look at. Let's go through some of these comments because I did want to star some of them. So Johnny said, by the way, when I said Casemiro was our best midfielder, wasn't much to compare to. Mainly doesn't get game time, so comparing to Bruno and Ugarte in the pivot. Agree. We need more in midfield and forward, says Reese. Wahaha says, yeah, he dropped Casemiro for younger legs in Ugarte. Casemiro is our best midfielder, no way around it. And that's scary as well because Casemiro is 34 at the end of this season. 2 of our midfielders here, let's be honest. 2 of our midfielders, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, are 65 between them. We know that this midfield needs completely revamping. We know that. Steve-O says, Dan, I honestly think we nearly have a good team. 1 more transfer window needed. I think 2. I think in January we go out there and we get the big business done, which is the midfielders. And then in the summer we go out there and get the bits around it. That's what I think. But I've been wrong before. No way are Chelsea losing to Lincoln. No way are Chelsea losing to Lincoln. Let's have a look. We'll have a look. Of course, we'll have a look. I tell you what. If they lose to Lincoln, oh my days. Today, let's have a look. They bloody are as well. They bloody are as well. What's the team? Let's have a look at Chelsea's lineup. That's hilarious. That's put a smile on my face. We need a midfielder. Don't like seeing Fernandes playing there. I agree with that, Carrick. Carrick fan, sorry. Because the way I see it, Cunha on the left, Brian on the right, Bruno as a 10, then you get Baleba and Mainu pivot. I think this works. We've said this as well, to be fair. We've said this. We have said this. Ring Charlie. I don't know if he'll answer. Is he on a watch along? Let me have a look if Charlie's on a watch along. Let me go on YouTube. What's Charlie's? Hang on a minute. Let's see. Let's have a look. I've got to see if we've got to see if he's available, haven't we? We've got to see if he's available. Charlie Patrick. Not Charlie Poof. Am I following him on Twitter? That's embarrassing. Charlie Patrick. Ah, there we go. I'm not following. Oh Christ! I'll follow him back. Sorry, Charlie. Chelsea Fan TV. I don't think he's. I don't. Let's have a look. Wolfie has straight away gone in with. Oh, Charlie. I think he's at the game. I'll let him off. That's fucking hilarious. That is. Half his team is Scooby-Doo. Where are they? New players don't get game time for whatever reason. And would I lie to you? What did you say, Andy? No, you would never lie to me, Andy. No, you would not. Look into my eyes, can't you see them open wide? When I lie to you, baby. Great tune. Garner starting kittens, you mean? Kittens. Enzo and Santos in midfield. Buonata. It's brilliant, isn't it? Hit and like and subscribe. I tell you what I was thinking, guys. I do want to make this show more interactive. And to do that, you know when I do it from on match day, when we have the interactive stuff with the scores, I think I'm going to start streaming from OBS. And I think what I'm going to do is start having, when there's matches going on, I'm going to have the live scores on the side so we can keep an eye on stuff. I am going to change the outlay a little bit because although I like this, I want to change it up a little bit. So that's something we'll look at. But guys, I didn't realize we're going over an hour. Now remember, tomorrow night I'm not here. I've got a meeting with Kev about a few things. So I will not be live tomorrow night, and then I'll be back on Thursday. But if you've watched this all the way through and you haven't commented yet, make sure you hit a comment, make sure you hit a like, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. We need to be getting, I want to see 1280 so bad. Like, it's all I think about. I just want to see 1208, 128. We've done it. Thank you very much, guys. So make sure you follow, make sure you like and subscribe. I will see you on Thursday. Absolutely love and adore each and every one of you. You know that. And Steve, do you know something, Steve? And this goes to all of you. The reason that this goes so quick is because of the comments you guys put in there, and girls and whatever. You all put great comments in here, and it makes the show flow. So I thank you very much. Tomorrow, we might just see the Discord be set up. So thank you very much. Big respect to all of you. Dan United. Uta! Uta, 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 uta.